Hello, what you're about to see is me jumping to a conclusion too quickly as to what the problem with my washing machine was, and then having to go back and fix it again. So you're getting two repairs for one in this video. Hopefully it helps somebody make the right choice the first time around, and hope you enjoy.
Hello, welcome back. Today I'm going to go over a repair on an LG direct drive washing machine. If you have one of these and it goes to the spin cycle or otherwise just starts to make kind of a grinding noise when you're, when it's running, even if the drum's still moving, you hear it sounds like it's slipping. Well, if that's the case, it's a pretty easy repair, about the easiest you're going to want to have on an appliance. So I just figured I'd make a quick video on it, and if it helps anybody out, great. But let's take a look. It's going to be quick because it is pretty simple. Okay, so I don't have a lot of room to work back here, so hopefully this will work out alright and you can see what's going on. Firstly, pull the washer out, which is probably the hardest part of the whole thing. Make sure you got it unplugged. And then you're just going to take out 4 screws around the side here, which I've already done. And then this is like if you ever installed a screen in a window, same thing. Just got to lift it up and then slide it down. And this is the part. This is the motor mounted directly on the back of the tub. So it's held on by one bolt, which I had actually had that loose, but it tightened back up. Once you pull that bolt out, it's just a matter of reaching in and pulling this out. Now it is all magnets, so it may take a little bit to work it off, but there you go. You can see there's the inside of the motor, and that plastic bit right there is what mates to the drive shaft of the tub. And you can see here it's not looking like it has much teeth left in it. Now, unfortunately, you can't buy that plastic piece. You gotta buy the whole housing with the plastic piece installed. I've seen it go from anywhere from like 53 bucks on Sears Parts Direct to up near 100 on Amazon. So I currently have one on order from Sears. I'm waiting for it to show up, but as soon as it does, we'll do a side-by-side comparison of these two parts so you can see worn out and not worn out, and then we'll reinstall it, and we should be good to go. So like I said, this is really as basic of repair as you can get. So if your washing machine is acting up, making some weird noises, it's worth doing this just to make sure that it's not this part that's bad. So anyway, that's all for the moment, and we'll resume once I get the new part in. Alright, so I've received the new rotor assembly, and you can see the old one again, pretty worn out. Looks like they've changed the plastic in this maybe, but you can see there's definitely nice teeth in there. So I don't know if I pointed this out, but this is all magnets in here, so when you go to assemble this, just make sure there's nothing, or when you're handling them in general, just make sure you don't have any magnets around. And let's go ahead and put this on. Alright, so now just need to put this over the spindle, and because of the magnets, it does try and engage those coils, but just got to get it lined up. bolt back in. There you go. And it's just a matter of getting that back in, putting those 4 screws back in. Repair is done. So, like I said, it's about the easiest appliance repair you could ever hope for, and that's all there is to it. And we're back behind the washing machine. I put it all back together very confidently, turned it on. It seemed like it was okay at first, and then it went to go to the spin cycle, and the noise was still there. So it seems that the gears were not, or the spindle was not slipping at all. I've looked at this some more. I was kind of put out by the fact that it wasn't fixed, and I totally forgot to record the problem again, so my apologies for that. I got back here and started watching it while it was running and really observing it, and I'll show you that in a minute. We'll put the cover back on, but it became evident that nothing was slipping, that there was sort of a hammering going on. And as I watched it, let me just put this back. Well, before I do that, there was like a hammering noise going on. I've done some more research, and behind the coil down there, where you see those 4 wires, that is the position sensor, the Hall field effect sensor, or something to that effect. Anyway, it senses where the magnets are of the outer part of the motor, and helps the machine know which set of coils to fire at which point to actually cause the outer section to spin. So what I saw while watching this, get this back in, is during a normal spin, this was going around nice and smooth, no problem. When it went to go to high speed, and sometimes when setting up, the movement would become a little staccato. That's pretty much the noise. Like that, but a little louder. And it is, I believe, the coils misfiring due to a bad Hall position sensor down there. From what I understood online, that usually is accompanied by an error code. I was not receiving any sort of error code. It just had a lot of noise, and that is pretty much the noise. Like I said, but louder. I don't know how it's coming out on the video, but it was pretty loud. Like you could hear it easily from another room. So if you hear your machine making a noise like that, and even if the even if the splines in this look like they're kind of worn out like mine do, I would really advise you to run it a little bit with, while watching it, to try and confirm if this is, spinning without the drum, or if something else is going on, because I bought a new part here, which I don't think is actually going to be necessary. It's really going to be this sensor in the back of the coil, and this was at best price $50 up to $90. The little sensor is like $15 on Amazon, so big difference in price. I'll probably keep the new part here anyway, just because the other one was looking a little worn, and since I'm in here, might as well and just have it all rebuilt now. So anyway, let's take everything apart and get that sensor replaced. Before you go taking the coil off, we should take off the power to the coils and the sensor connector as well. Be easier to get the power cables out from under the shield, and then there are clips on the sides. A little tight to get in here with the camera and everything else. There we go. And then the position sensing has a clip on the back, and it comes out like that. Now you can go ahead and pull the rest of the bolts off. When you get down to the last couple of bolts, be careful. You're going to want to remove them by hand. This thing is somewhat heavy, but it just pulls right off. So once you have it off the machine, it's fairly easy to test this Hall field sensor. What you're looking for is between pin 5 and 1 to have around 10 ohms of resistance, and between 5 and 2 also to have about 10 ohms resistance. If either of these don't show 10 ohms, this is bad. So I have my meter set on the 20 ohm setting, and let's go ahead and dive into 5 and 1, and well, you can see if I keep it positioned right, it's got 10 ohms. Now if I switch over to 5 and 2, I'm getting nothing no matter what I do. 10 ohms there, nothing there. So turns out this is what is bad, and it's pretty easy to get it off. It's just clipped on. You come in, lift that tab up, you can pop this right off. There are three clips on this side that engage these 3 down here, so it's easy to put it back on in the right spot. This is about, you know, $9 to $15 if you surf around on Amazon, as opposed to $50 to $100 for this that I bought mistakenly. I guess that isn't the actual problem. So I now need to order a new sensor, position sensor, and we'll get that installed, and hopefully this time it will work. Okay, so the new sensor has arrived. Pretty easy to install it, like I did before. Just get that tab loose. There's 3 notches on the front there that go into these 3 tabs. Line those up and snap this over. And I didn't quite get it. There it is. And that's there you go. Got that clipped in, and that's all there is. I guess let's give it a quick test and make sure we get good readouts.
Yep, about 10 ohms there, and about almost 10 ohms there. Well, 9, but close enough. At least it's reading now, so we are good to reinstall. One thing that should be pointed out while you have all this open, look for any signs of water coming through the seals back here. If there is signs of leakage, you're going to have to take the whole machine apart to get the drum out and replace this bearing, but fortunately mine looks good. Okay, comes time to reinstall this. Just make sure it's oriented so that your connectors down at the side line up. And start reinstalling. Once you have a couple of bolts started in, you might want to just go ahead and secure the connectors before you get too far to make sure you can do it while it's on the machine. I prefer to have the bolts holding it so I don't torque the wires, but you may find it easier to put them on before you put the coils back on. Put the bracket back down over the wire. And we are done. Alright, once you have that all put back, you can once again install the cover, or the other side of the motor. And alright, that should do it. This time, before we go any further, I'm going to go ahead and start it up and we'll watch it run and see that it runs without any issues. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, please subscribe. I'm trying to get my viewer count or my subscriber count over 1,000. And if you like this video, you might like some of my others. So try clicking on one of the thumbnails, and see you around. Thanks. Bye.